Can't really see it real well, but here's where my tires were sunk. And that little drag mark in the middle there is where my rear end drug across coming out. Yeah, I was in there pretty deep. Yeah, this is a soupy nasty mess. Sliding everywhere. Yeehaw. No such thing as steering in this. It's worse than being out on ice. At least ice, you got a little bit of control. One way or the other. Alright. Those of you that get ticked off about the windshield wipers, it's raining. You're just gonna have to get ticked off. I don't mean to make these videos lately all about vaping, but being that it's raining or snowing last week, snowing and ice, being that that's been the case, I haven't really had much else to do. I'm supposed to be doing some bike riding, get this fat gut worked off of me. And no, that's not a New Year's resolution, because I actually bought the bike before Halloween, and I've been out on it one time. I rode it 13 miles that one time, or 12 and a half miles one time, but I've only been out on it once. So that's my next thing, is to start riding it regular when it's not raining or snowing, because I don't like that kind at all. Just won't do it. I like this little tank. It was gotten completely on a fluke. I thought I was getting some of the starter kits with the EVODs, which would have been nice, and somehow it's nice walking on the side of the road at night with dark clothes on. Let it go there. Anyway, some people make no sense, but this is a mini pro tank that came on one of the battery mods, and I hadn't tried the mini pro tank yet, and I'm glad I actually did, because I can't stand the pro tank. It's all airy, a real airy hit. It vapes really well, but it's airy. I don't like that. This one is not so airy. It vapes just pretty much like any other tank that I've ever used. Got a little bit of a tight draw to it, not too much. Still got a little bit of airiness, but not too much, not like the Pro Tank. So I'm actually happy with it, especially since this thing throws the vape. For all the bigger the tank is, it really puts some steam out. Tried my Kraken. I had a coil on it. The coil was doing well, and I did something to it today, and it just quit working altogether. So I'm on my way down to Saffire Vapor in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Probably about 15-20 miles away. To get some Kanthal wire. And I'll probably stop by Walgreens on the way back and get some cotton. I'm not going to boil it because I've actually seen people that have used that and not boiled it. Oh, I hope he didn't sell his tow truck. guess old George will be doing any business today. Raining like crazy. He still owes me some tires, but I think I'm going to try and talk him out of a set of rims for my Firebird. There's a lot of fun left to be had in that car, but the tires, I'll have to show you when I get home. Driver's side back tire kind of let me down a little bit. My daughter thought she had done something to it because I had her get in the Firebird and try pulling this out before, just see if it would work. I mean, it's a V8 too, and it's got some weight to it, so I figured out maybe it'll pull it out, maybe it won't. And so I needed to go somewhere pretty bad because we needed some things. So I decided I was going to take the Firebird, no tags and all, and go my butt to Lowe's and get what we needed, fix the plumbing. It's the day the pipe was busted. Made it out to the end of our street, turned right into Kentucky, made it probably another 200 feet. Driver's side rear tire, completely flat. I think there's a spare back there, one of them little donuts, but there's not a jack. I wasn't fixing to sit there and air the stupid thing back up. I decided, screw it, I'll take this thing back to the house and park it, and it'll sit there till I'm ready to mess with it again, preferably when it's dry out. So I went back to the house, limped it back to the house. It took me like 5 times longer to get back to the house from where I was at than it did to get where I broke down at. Started limping it back to the house, and my neighbor's son got behind me and told me, he says, I'll follow you back, make sure you make it all right. He says, are you sure you don't want to just pull it over and go get your trailer? Like, I can't get my trailer, my Tahoe stuck in the mud. That's the reason I was driving this thing. Wasn't thinking about the fact that the tires that are on that car are probably 10 years old, and they were dry rotted. I mean, big time. They had been cracking, but still looked like they were in good enough shape that I could have got a few more miles out of them. They still have really good tread on them, which lets me know that the kid didn't sit there and just bake them down and burn them out and torture the car. Well, remarkably, I made it all the way back to the house, probably about 2.5 miles, on a flat tire, and it just thumping and bumping to beat the band, and not a scratch on the rim itself. Not one. I don't know how in the heck I did that. Of course, I was taking it kind of easy. I wasn't just sitting there trying to drive it like a normal car. I was actually driving kind of slow, which is really unusual for me. And just kind of hobbling it back. But I was sure that because of the turns and curves that I went around, that rim was going to be at least a little bit scored up and have to be ground down and polished and everything else. Nope. But the tire, it's completely gone. I mean, it is thrashed. The whole outer sidewall of the tire is just completely chewed off. It's the outer tread and the bead, and everything between the tread on the tire and the bead is gone. They're just little fibers and metal cords hanging out where the tire used to be. But I told you guys that it had a little bit of a rust issue. That's a little bit of an understatement. It's actually got a lot of bit of a rust issue. Some genius cut the floor pan on the driver's side. No idea why, but there's a straight cut going from the back of the driver's side door in behind the driver's side seat. And of course it's rusting there. The bolts for the driver's side seat are rusted. And I found out that the thing had actually been totaled. And it was so cold and wet the day we went to buy the car, I didn't see the damage that was actually done to it, because I went with them to look at it. And it runs like a top. I mean, just smooth as silk, not a problem. It's a 4-barrel 305 with a 4-barrel quadrajet on it. I'm thinking the quadrajet's about ready to be replaced. And it drives and shifts smooth, not a problem. When we got it here, took it over to my neighbor's house and put it up on his lift. Yeah, both rocker panels on both the driver and passenger side doors are gone. I mean, they're rusted through. So there's that. The panhard bar that holds the rear end straight when you're really giving her fits. It's not rusted through, but the place that it mounts up to the floor kind of is. It's still hanging on, but like only by a thread. And then, of course, the fenders. Well, the driver's side fender got a quarter-size hole in it, but the inner fender wells and the floor pan right there around where the frame starts back over for the going over the back wheels, that's all rusted. It's not rusted through, it's just really rusty. So what I'm looking for right now, and I may have found one if I can ever get the guy to respond to me, there's a guy in Nashville, or Smyrna I think it is, which is just east of Nashville, that has a same year model car. Of course, he's got a different one. It don't have the cowl induction on the hood, which that's neither here nor there. But he's got a 92 that's just got the straight hood, white T-tops, no wheels, said it needs motor and transmission. I got all that. He was wanting either $600 or to trade it for a pickup truck in good shape or running. Pickup truck or 4x4. And I got to thinking about it. I've got that 1991 Silverado out back, and all I got to do is put the inner fender well back on and outer fender, and the guy will have him a really good running truck. I mean, a super good running truck, because that thing runs better than anything in our yard. Only problem is it still needs the door seals. I haven't gotten those yet, and if they're not gotten soon, there's not going to be much sense in getting them, because the truck's just sitting there getting rained in. Thankfully, it hasn't gotten in the inside of the truck too awful much, so the thing hasn't started rotting apart. But I got a feeling it's probably not too awful long until it does. So I have to get after that. I want to get my engine dropped down at my 4x4 right. Now that I got an engine hoist to do it with, of my own. I didn't show y'all that one because it wasn't like I went to the store and bought it and then had to put it together. It came already assembled as secondhand. But it's never been used to lift a motor yet. So, and it is one of the ones that I didn't really want to have. It's one of them that the legs fold up on it. They're great for in garages when you're concerned about space. But one, I don't have a garage. If I did, I'd probably be doing a lot more projects and getting them done. But yeah, I really got to get that 4x4 together and get it driving. Not because I want to get out in it or anything else. I just don't want that motor locking up on it because I think he said it was 135,000 miles that it had on it before they pulled it. And it's a good motor. They said they pulled it out of the truck with it running. So I don't want it to just sit there and rot apart or lock up because it wasn't turned over or run regularly. And it's been almost a year since I got the thing. So, I mean, it's in the truck, it's covered up and everything, but it's not in the truck, it's not mounted. And I think I know why. When I set the thing down in there, I fastened the passenger side motor mount first. I ran into this with that blue S10 4x4 that we had here, where when I went to set the motor down in it was the same issue. I set the passenger side first because it was right there. I figured I'd get that set and then we'd shake it around and get the other side set. And what I wound up doing is taking the passenger side back loose, setting the driver's side first, putting a pin in it, and then set the passenger side down and it went right in perfect. But when I went to stab the motor in this thing, I forgot about that and hooked up the passenger side first again. And the S10, I still got to go take my lazy butt down and get a dipstick for it and get it put in, fill the thing up with fluid and get it started, and it'll be ready. It should be ready to go. I mean, I started out with a bare naked block with that one and completely rebuilt it by hand. The only thing I didn't rebuild or do anything to was the transmission, because I'm taking my best friend's word. He's never let me down before, but according to him, it was a nice tight transmission. Said he accidentally squalled the tires a couple times in his driveway, which to me that means he set out there trying to bake it down and actually got it to do it. Then down here, Saffire Vapor. I'm actually going to try and do a little recording while I'm in there this time, so you get to look at what a really nice store looks like, and show you guys around a little bit in there. See that car turning? There's one behind me too. Police. And Gallatin police are a little on the relentless side. That's why I shut it off. So yeah, we're not spending a fortune in here tonight. This is just there it is. Saffire Vapor. Blurry as it wants to be. Doesn't help getting rain on the windshield either.
Look at the color of it. think of the color. And think, and if that color, what color do you think of? That's what's on.
Yeah.
Now it's clear because it wants
Right, actually.
you look at a lot of these pictures, they had a goldish line. And every time they landed, they had to put a new sheet of color. And that pin
That's interesting.
because the bugs would hit it.
I'm like, I don't even think it's gonna make you call.
No,
I'm like that.
take the sheet
They got
and just touch it up and touch it up. But now they're using something that actually surprising.
whatever.
Something else that's very strong. And then it's
It's a little bit harsh when you're trying to breathe it directly in.
And
Oh, you don't want to do that. So I use Freelander.
Yeah.
And so because I use under 6, I don't have to like fill them off and then inhale straight. I can just breathe it straight in.
See, that's what I want, something I can breathe
and
without having to do the whole smoker shit. Yeah.
One thing I didn't notice until just now, they've actually got pictures of mods on their window out here. Looks like the SVD and the Vamo V2 on the right and the Egos on the left. Pretty cool. Let's just say, oh, I didn't do this right last time. Back it up and show the whole store. Back into a parking space instead of over a curb this time. That's the store. That's inside the store. Very helpful. Very helpful people. I thoroughly enjoy going in there because they don't talk down to you. Just because you don't have what they have or what they like, they don't wrinkle their nose up at you or look at you like everything you've got's crap, which is huge. But they will give you their professional opinion. I like that. And the one fella that helped me out sat there for, I'd say probably the better part of an hour, showing me how to build coils. I guess I need to be over here. Showed me how to build coils, and the whole time his pizza, his dinner, is sitting in the back getting cold. But it was more important to help me build my coil, or to show me how to build it. I kind of had an idea, but I wasn't sure that the wicking part, that I had that part down right. Turned out I did. The coils, I made a disaster, but it was my own ignorance, basically. Not meaning I was stupid, I just didn't know. Now I do. So, I got 6 foot of 28 gauge Canthal and 6 foot of Eco Wool and a lot of knowledge out of that visit. Also grabbed me a bottle of their vanilla because it was really some good. Not their butterscotch. I didn't get the whole butterscotch effect out of it. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was a good vape. It just, it wasn't butterscotch enough for me, basically. It wasn't a super hit. But the vanilla that I got is really, really good. Now, I don't know if they steep it on their own, but I'm going to take the top off when I get home and let it sit there until probably this time tomorrow. And we'll see what it vapes like then. But now my Kraken actually has a, I guess you could call it, professionally built tank. It's a lot more professional than my version of the way it was built. And get out here on veterans. I thought that's what this was, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, it was not a bad experience. I've not been in there yet when I felt like the people there were talking down to me or looking down their nose at me, and that's huge. Because they deal with people all the time, and I know how tiring and boring that can be at times. And you really, really have to have a like for working with people to do that job, to deal with them face to face like that. And I kind of feel like every one of them in there does. So, do I recommend the Hendersonville Saffire Vapor? Yes, definitely. Like I said, they did a good job for me. Both times I've been in there, I was taken care of. I didn't feel like they were running all over the store doing this, that, and the other for all the other people that came in while I was there. Even if they had it, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But for dude to just not eat his dinner to come out and show me how to build coils, to me that was just huge. But anyway, at least if nothing else, I walked away from there with a lot better understanding of how to build them. Had a real pleasant visit, really nice experience. Didn't spend a household fortune, and actually behaved myself money-wise there. So all I got was my Kenthal wire and my Eco wool, and he actually built the coil for me. So now all I gotta do is basically match up what he had, as long as it does good, because it actually showed up as a 1.5 ohm coil. But and I got some more coils for my iClear 30S, because I burned through all 5 of the ones I had. Not because they were cheap coils, but because that's how much I vape. And they still don't believe that I burned through that 3,400 milliamp hour battery in 24 hours, or less than 24 hours. It's actually like 20 and a half hours. I did it though. And it wasn't like I was just hitting on it super hard or anything. That was actually just normal vaping. If I'd have hit it really hard, it wouldn't have lasted 12 hours. But I had it fully charged before I started, and even left it on there a little extra long before I took it off the charger. Not a whole lot, like an extra hour or two. and then took it off and vaped it until the thing shut down on me. I mean, shut completely off, and then took it back out and put it on the charger. It takes about, I want to say anywhere from 8 to 10 hours for those batteries to charge up. That might be an exaggeration, but that's about what it seems like. Because I can put them on in the morning, like when I start work at 6 a.m., I can put them on the charger. By the time I get off, they're still charging. But shortly after, like a couple hours after I log out of work, I can go out in the kitchen and look, and they're finished up, like just finished. Going to go by Lowe's because I'm passing right by it and get me a torch. The torch is Kanthal wire width, but thanks to my wife and my daughter sneaking around and smoking still. Mostly my daughter. My wife doesn't care. She'll just go out and do it. But thanks to my daughter sneaking around and smoking still, I found probably 30 lighters in the house. Brand new ones, just left laying. And I collected them all. So I've got plenty of stuff to heat the Kanthal wire up with. And all you basically have to do is just heat it up till it turns red, from what I've been told now. And once it turns red, you go all the way down the line with it. By the time it's done, you wipe it off, make your coil. Oh, I got my drip tip too. They kept trying to sell me an RSST. Smoke Tech RSST tank, Genesis tank. They wanted $36.51 for it. But I would have gotten it right then. I don't want to sink a bunch of money into rebuildables and until at least I know I can build a coil that don't look like a butthole. So I put them off on that one. Dude was trying like crazy to sell that thing to me though. I don't know if it was like the last one they had and they were just trying to get rid of it or what, but we got it out of the cabinet, right off the display, and brought it over and put it in the box that it came in and everything. Okay, that's not gonna sit there. Get it, had it all boxed up, ready to go for me, and I was like, I don't think so. And I wasn't doing it to be mean, that's just, like I said, until I know I can build these coils, I don't want to do anything like that. In other words, I don't want to have a bunch of rebuildables laying around and me not be able to rebuild the coils for them.